evening, everybody. Hello and welcome. The Church of Scientology are in hot water after documents were revealed today that show they have been threatening West Sussex County Council. We're going to be going through these documents and we're going to be bringing you all the news. But first, here's a little clip to show Scientology's stance in West Sussex.
Well, what does it want? We want a shrubbery! Is there anywhere in this town where we could buy a shrubbery? Firstly, you must find another shrubbery!
Sorry, I couldn't resist making the Monty Python joke. Essentially, Scientology want a shrubbery. They have installed concealed fencing, some curbing, and a huge hedge that spans 130 metres opposite their UK headquarters at St Hill in East Grinstead, Sussex. And unfortunately, that is something that they weren't allowed to do. West Sussex County Council have told them off and said you need to remove it. It is an unauthorised structure. It is a danger to road users and it needs to be removed. It's on public land and it is an obstruction of the public right of way. Now, I've covered this before as this story has been developing for many months. And today I received documents through a Freedom of Information Act request that shows Scientology's managing director in the UK, who we know and love, Janet, has threatened the council in response to their demands that the shrubbery is removed. But first, before we get into it, let's say hello to some of the people in the chat. We've got SP Crusader Leanie. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the chat. Please remember to hit the like button and stay on topic. Enjoy. Thank you so much, Leanie, and thank you for being such a wonderful moderator. Educon is here. I'm so here for this. And he said no Monty Python joke. I'm sorry, I've blown that one. I couldn't resist. Irish Mart is here. Hi, Alex and chat. Hello. Thank you for joining. Golden Astro Cat is here. Good evening, Alex. Hello. We have Skyfire saying don't say the word. Don't say the word. Xenuite is here. Thank you so much. Storm Pugglesworth. Hello. Hi, Alex. Hi. How's it going? Linda Mickle is also here saying, hi, Alex. Hello. Thank you for joining. So, if you want to read the story along with me, there is a link to my blog in the description down below, Scientologybusiness.com. I'm going to be sharing my screen here. This is the article I published today. Scientology threatens council claiming UK HQ unauthorized structure removal was discrimination. Here we go. The Church of Scientology have claimed West Sussex County Council's request they remove unauthorised structures obstructing the public highway outside the UK headquarters amounts to discrimination and warned the Highway Authority to be very careful, new documents reveal. Last December, we reported the Church of Scientology has been ordered to remove a 130-foot which is 40 meters, of hedgerow, curbing, and a concealed fence it had installed to obstruct protesters on public land opposite the entrance to UK headquarters at St Hill near East Grinstead. Following an inspection by the highway's arboriculturalist, I still can't pronounce that word, on the 19th of September 2024, Scientology were given 28 days to remove the unauthorized structures ahead of its annual gathering of the IAS, which took place in October, but was subsequently given a 14-day extension, which expired on the 4th of November. At that time, Scientology claimed that they had permission to install the obstructions and refused to remove them, despite the council noting they present a hazard to the highway due to their proximity to the road. Laura Norton here says, finally, I've made it to a live chat. Thank Xenu. Yes, thank you, Xenu, indeed. Hello and welcome. We also have Erie Forever, and we have Mary Kay London. Hi from the US. Thank you. Let's carry on. Scientology Business can now reveal the church representatives have continued in their refusal to comply with regulations, going so far as to threaten the council by claiming their request to remove the structures amounts to discrimination due to the property being designated as a place of public worship and instructing the Highways Authority to be very careful. Referring to protesters who gathered outside their headquarters last year, calling for an end to abuse inside the organisation, the Scientology UK's managing director, Janet, told the council, I fully appreciate the West Sussex Authority, a highway authority, is coming under a lot of pressure from people who wish only to discriminate and incite hatred against our religion. However, the Highway Authority needs to be very careful about attempts to be drawn into doing the same. This would not only be improper, but also illegal under our laws, which protect against discrimination and mandate equal and proportionate treatment. The protests, which took place in November 2023 and October 2024, were peaceful and called for an end to Scientology's abusive practices, not to their religious beliefs, and police were present throughout the whole event. No arrests or cautions were made, and there is no evidence to suggest the demonstrations involved any harassment or incitement of hatred, as Scientology suggests. Now, this is a picture of St. Hill Road, which is where the Scientology headquarters is located. This is the entrance here on the left-hand side, and you can see on the other side of the road, this big hedgerow here. This is the shrubbery in question. You can see there is a wooden curbing that they've installed right up against the road edge. They've planted these trees, which looks like a hedge, and behind that, they've installed a fence. Now, this isn't actually their land. This is public land. And because of its proximity to the highway, the council are concerned that it is presents a danger to motorists because this curbing is not secured or fixed in any way. It was not put there with permission. And as such, it's possible that this could come dislodged and it could present a danger to anyone driving on the road. It also blocks the right of way. This is a footpath. People should be able to walk here. And you can see it's quite a narrow country lane. So it's dangerous for people who are walking their dogs, members of the public who are walking past for whatever reason. They have to walk in the road in order to avoid this huge hedgerow that Scientology have planted there. And Scientology said initially that they had permission to do it, and now they are saying that it's discrimination and that the council are asking them to remove it. Let's carry on. In another email sent to the local authority, a Scientology spokesperson said, "I do wish to raise the point that if you look all along the highway down St. Hill Road, you will note that this section provides better visibility than much of the rest of the road. That is because it is tidy and it is kept maintained. That leaves me with a strong suspicion that you are singling out this specific section of the highway sorry, let me start that again. That leaves me with a strong suspicion that you singling out this specific section of the highway is motivated by an anti-Scientology sentiment and was not the genuine highway's priority that your department's actions would indicate." So what we have here is Scientology claiming that the council that looks after the area in which they reside is anti-Scientology. It's discriminating against them, and it's unlawful that they should ask the Scientology to remove the hedgerow because they look after the hedge. It looks nice and neat and tidy. But unfortunately, they're missing the point. The problem isn't whether the hedge has been trimmed or not and whether it's a nice looking shrubbery. The problem is the shrubbery shouldn't be there. The problem is the shrubbery is a danger to motorists. It is a danger to people walking on the road, and it is an obstruction of the public right of way. Scientology did not have permission to put this shrubbery where it is, and Scientology therefore must remove it. The rules apply to everybody equally, and Scientology here are not playing by the rules. If you look at us as a protest movement, we always play by the rules. We stand on the side of the road on public land. We don't go onto Scientology's property. We don't hurl abuse at these people going to these events. We don't treat Scientologists differently to non-Scientologists. We stand there peacefully with our signs that simply calls for an end to abuse inside their organization. We don't care if people want to be Scientologists. They are more than welcome and free to believe in L. Ron Hubbard's teachings and Xenu and all of that if they choose to do so. What we want to stop is the abuse inside the organization, forced familial disconnections, forced abortions, hard manual labor, punishments, lower ethics conditions. These are the sorts of behaviors that we are protesting against, not their so-called religious beliefs. So we are standing there playing by the rules. We apply for permits. We're very peaceful. The police are always there. There's never been any arrests. We are not harassing them in any way. We live stream the whole thing. Unfortunately, Scientology here are the bad actors. They are not only refusing to comply with the regulations, but they are throwing it back at the council, saying that the fact that they're asking for the regulations to apply to them is discrimination. And unfortunately, that just isn't the case. Nonetheless, a highways manager concluded on the 10th of January 2025, all things considered, we have made the decision to have the unauthorized planting removed from the public highway. Through a Freedom of Information Act request, we can now also bring you the letters that West Sussex County Council sent to Scientology back in September, when concerns were also raised regarding temporary planters and a large Welcome to St Hill banner placed along the road in order to obstruct protesters and promote the 2023 IAS event. Now, just going back to this picture to give you a little bit of context. You see the hedge here that we were talking about, the shrubbery on the right hand side, but they've got this fence behind it. And what they do is they put, or at least in 2023, they put a huge banner that spans the entire length of this shrubbery, which is 130 feet, and that says "Welcome to St Hill." And that obviously is dangerous for road users because it's so close to the highway. A big gust of wind could make that sign fall over onto passing traffic, which is dangerous. And also, you see here on the left-hand side, you've got this kind of paved area. What they did is they put planters all along here and here where that cone is, and they barricaded this area off so that protesters couldn't stand right by the gate of their property, even though it's public land. So this was another complaint that was filed. So there's two issues here. There's the temporary planters that they put there for the IES event in October, IES meaning International Association of Scientologists. And then you have the big sign that goes along this shrubbery. So that's considered as one complaint. And then the other issue is the fact that the shrubbery is even there in the first place. So those are the two things that West Sussex County Council wrote to Scientology about and said, you need to not be doing this. And thanks to the Freedom of Information Act request that I sent and received today, I can bring you those letters. So let's start with the letter that was sent on the 18th of September 2024, just to give you an idea of how long this has been going on and how many conversations have been had about this bloody shrubbery. This is the letter that West Sussex County Council sent to St Hill. This is a map of the area, which the council have very clearly designated what parts of the road are their property and which is Scientology's. So this here is the entrance that we were so the photo I just showed you is taken from about here, and this is the entrance into St Hill. This here is where the shrubbery is, all along here, and where we as protesters stand is here on the public right of way, on the public land here by the highway. And you can see there's like a footpath on either side of the road here. But unfortunately, this entire span of the footpath is completely inaccessible because of the shrubbery that Scientology have placed there. So this is what's been pointed out by the map provided by the council in this letter. And you can see here, this was supplied by West Sussex County Council. This is actually dated 10th of October. But let's have a look at this letter from the 18th of September. So addressed to Church of Scientology, St Hill Road. It does say private and confidential, but it was disclosed under the Freedom of Information Act request. And I'm sharing it here because there is a genuine public interest in this matter, as evidenced by the fact that the national press have covered this already. And there's also some interest in covering this today's update. Dear Sir, as you may be aware, West Sussex County Council is the highway authority for West Sussex, and as such has a duty to assert and protect the rights of the public to use and enjoyment of the highway under the provisions of the Highways Act 1980. It has been brought to our attention that a banner and planters were erected on the highway last year advertising your church's annual event. Please see the imagery below. So here's the picture of the big Welcome to St Hill sign that I was talking about. This thing is huge, 130 feet long. And you can see it's literally just strapped on to the hedge. And it's not really secured. It's not something that is secured there in a way that doesn't present a danger to motorists. So, and you can see how close it is here to the road. And this is that curbing that Scientology put there without permission. And then here is another picture that's supplied that shows the temporary planters that they put along the road here and the wall that they put up. It's just a wood panel. But again, the proximity to the road is not something the council are happy about. And the fact that this is obstructing and blocking the public right of way is something Scientology shouldn't be doing. I should point out that, unfortunately, this is classed as an unlawful obstruction of the highway, so I should be very grateful if you would kindly make alternative arrangements this year to avoid depositing or erecting anything on the highway. For your assistance, I enclose a plan showing the extent of publicly maintainable highway in the vicinity of access to the church in pink. I would also add that it might also be advisable to contact the district council to ensure that no advertising regulations are broken by the erection of the banner. You please feel free to contact me to discuss the matter should you wish. So this was sent by the assistant area highway manager. Now, I don't know about you, but nothing about this letter comes across as discriminatory, as inciting hatred, as unfair. I think the council here are being very fair and saying, hey, you've broken the rules and we're asking you to stop doing that. And they sent this letter ahead of the IES event 2024. Scientology Money Project here is here. Hi, Jeffrey Augustine. Thank you so much for joining. The same obstructive landscaping exists at Gold Base in San Jacinto, California. Protesters are placed in danger along a very busy highway as a result. Yes, exactly. And it's not just protesters, it's anybody that is using the road in the area. The Gold Base, I've been there. It is further out afield. It's out there quite a distance away from the population. So the likelihood of people walking past is going to be very low. St. Hill is also quite remote. But there are a number of properties on that road, especially the rugby club. There's a sports club, and there's a selection of properties at Rockwood Park and further down St. Hill Green. So there's a lot more foot traffic, people walking up along this road, walking their dogs and so on. So not only are protesters placed in danger by the limited space that is available for them to stand in once a year, it's also placing people in danger who are just live in the local area and walking past every day to walk their dogs. So it's just completely ridiculous that Scientology think it's okay to do this. And I think the council here have been very fair in their approach to this situation. Now, let's have a little look at the next document, which was the 25th of September. So a week later, this was another letter sent by West Sussex County Council to St. Hill, which says, "Dear Sir, I refer to my recent letter regarding the planters and banner erected on the highway outside of your gates. It has also come to our attention that a row of trees, a fence, and posts have also been erected on the opposite side of the road to your entrance. Unfortunately, these items are all within the publicly maintainable highway and so will need to be removed within 28 days of the date of this letter. I appreciate that this may have been done by another landowner, and we are therefore writing to others in the area to the same effect. Please feel free to contact me to discuss this matter further, should you so wish." Again, sent by the Assistant Area Highway Manager. Now, a little quirk of UK law here that I've recently found out that I think is interesting and important to take note of. If your land goes up to the highway, i.e. you have a garden or something and it goes right up to the road and there's not a footpath or anything there, the first, I think it's meter or 2 meters of your land that backs onto the highway, even though you own the land, actually comes under the jurisdiction of the Highways Authority because of potential dangers to road users. So Scientology is saying it's our land, we can do what we want. And the council have said, actually, that isn't your land. But even if it was, we would have jurisdiction over it because of its proximity to a highway and because of the rules in terms of highways and road users and all of that in the UK. The council have the ability to instruct things be removed within a certain perimeter of a road to protect road users and make sure there's space on either side of the road so that things like this don't happen. So even if Scientology were correct in their point that they own the land, they can do what they want with it, unfortunately, that's not how the regulations work when it comes to highways. Also, the maps that I just showed indicate that it's not even their land in the first place. Their land ends on the western side of St. Hill Road, or the southern side, whichever way you look at it, and their land doesn't go to the other side of the highway. So it's not their land, they don't have permission to do it, and even if it was their land, they still wouldn't be allowed to put this stuff there without planning permission. So let's carry on with the rest of this article. Where are we? Here we go. In response, Scientology's External Affairs Director wrote to the council asking to arrange a meeting to discuss the issue, saying, "It appears you have been misinformed concerning the hedge," which was put there on specific recommendation of Inspector Paul Scott of Sussex Police, who more than 10 years ago, and was inspected and approved by West Sussex Highways at that time. However, the police do not have jurisdiction over the installation of structures on public land, as this falls with the local authority, and the church are yet to provide any evidence of their claims. This is one thing that's important to know. I'm summarizing a lot of stuff here. There were, I think it's 100 and something pages of FOI documents that I received today, and I'm just trying to summarize it into an article and a short video here to give you the rundown. I do encourage you to go and read the full extent of these documents. You can download them from Scientologybusiness.com. But essentially, they're saying that the police gave them permission, they were allowed to do it, but they haven't actually said, here's the evidence. The council have asked for proof that they were given permission to do it. They said, can you provide us with evidence that it was inspected by the council? Because the council don't have any record that they gave permission or that it was inspected and that it's all okay. There is nothing on their systems whatsoever that suggests Scientology are being truthful here. So they said, please supply us with the evidence and we'll back off. And Scientology have been unable to do so. Jeffrey Augustine here, glad to be here checking in on Apostate Alex and his report on the realms of Scientology. Thank you. Yes, the realms of Scientology and their shrubbery. Let's carry on with this article. Where are we? The letter dated 1st of October 2024 continues. Before that was put there, the bushes actually extend further into St. Hill Road than is currently the case and presented a greater danger to passing traffic than the neat hedge that is now there. Again, Scientology are missing the point here. They are saying, we look after the hedge, we trim it back, it's neat and tidy, therefore it's okay. And the council is saying, it doesn't matter if you trim it or not. It's not. It needs to not be there. It shouldn't have been planted in the first place. It is illegal, it is an obstruction, and it is something that shouldn't be there at all, regardless of how neat and tidy it looks. And regarding what it was like before they planted it, it also doesn't matter, because if it is on public land, the council are the ones that are responsible for maintaining and trimming it. So if it got overgrown or something, that's the council's responsibility to trim it. The fact is, Scientology placed these illegal structures on public land. It's not a problem how messy or tidy they are. They are a danger. Let's carry on. Scientology do not deny planting the hedgerow and installing the concealed fence, and admit their intention in doing so was to disrupt protesters. And here's a quote. The problem with what was there before was that when there was an occasional protest outside the church, protesters would try to congregate there. They would push themselves into the bushes, but for most of the time ended up actually on the road, causing an obstruction and danger to passing traffic. This was why the police made the recommendation that they did to us and the Rockwood Park residents. It's why the Highways Authority were also happy with it. Now, this is where it starts to get a bit tricky for Scientology. And this is what I like to call a foot bullet. It was only a matter of time before Scientology messed up. For a bit of context, Scientology applied for a public spaces protection order last year in an attempt to ban protesters from gathering outside Scientology's headquarters. Scientology's claim is that protesters are there all the time, and it is disruptive and it is persistent, and so therefore it needs to be banned. But Scientology, in this email, have admitted that the protests are only occasional. Scientology's description of protests outside their property as occasional creates a significant hurdle in their attempts to ban protesting through a PSPO. Ahead of last year's IES event, Scientology filed an application for Mid-Sussex District Council to restrict the rights of protesters gathering outside the property. PSPOs are measures that can be implemented by the local authority in order to combat unreasonable and persistent antisocial behaviour. However, strict criteria needs to be met in order to justify their use. According to the Local Government Association's guidelines, the activity being restricted must be, quote, persistent or continuing in nature, end quote. Only 2 protests have occurred outside St. Hill in the last 6 years, And this new document undermines Scientology's stance that a protest ban is needed in order to avoid disruption to the local community. Now, this is another letter that I'm going to share with you from Scientology, St. Hill letter, 1st of the 10th. Let me open this one. Share screen. Okie dokie, 1st of the 10th. So 1st of October 2024, this is an email that the Church of Scientology sent to West Sussex County Council. Thank you for your letters dated 18th and 25th of September addressed to the Church of Scientology. So this is their response to those 2 letters that I just showed from West Sussex. I am the External Affairs Director and I am replying on their behalf. I would like to organise a Teams or Zoom call meeting with you to discuss these matters more thoroughly. When would be good for you? In the meantime, it appears that you have been misinformed concerning the hedge on the opposite side of St. Hill Road to the church entrance. This was put there on the specific recommendation of Inspector Paul Scott of Sussex Police more than 10 years ago and was inspected and approved by West Sussex Highways at that time. Before that was put there, the bushes actually extended further into St. Hill Road than is currently the case, presenting a danger. That's the quote that I just read. Problem with what was there, this is the quote that I just read about protesters congregating there and the fact that they describe it as occasional, which is definitely a foot bullet when it comes to the PSBO process, which is still ongoing. I've downloaded a few images of the site from Google Maps historical street view to demonstrate the improvement that has been made to the safety of the highway. The first of these is from June 2011 and shows that the bush line used to be what the bush line used to be like. You will note the haphazard way in which branches poke out into the 60-mile-an-hour road. This meant passing vehicles had to exercise care driving past and difficult maintenance issues. The next Google Street View image available was September 2016, some years after the hedge was planted. You will note the considerable improvement in the safety of the highway. I have also enclosed the Google Street View images from April 2017, May 2019, and May 2024. On all, you can see the neat, easily maintained hedge, a vast improvement on what was there in 2011. Again, Scientology are harping on about the fact that they look after this hedge and they're trimming it. They are missing the point. The point isn't that it's trimmed. The point is it shouldn't be there. The fact that it is there is a danger. It's not about whether things are poking out into the road or not. If the hedge wasn't there in the first place, it wouldn't be poking out into the road, and it therefore wouldn't be a danger to people driving past. West Sussex Highways not only approved it more than a decade ago, but clearly have had no issues with it since. The person who has complained now is someone who wishes to be able to stand there protesting, obstructing the traffic, and recreating the dangerous conditions that were the reason that the police recommended it in the first place. Please let me know when you are free to meet. Kind regards, Church of Scientology. Now, there's no denying that we want to protest outside St. Hill on occasion, and we want to do so from public land, and we want to do so safely. When I organised the IES protest last year and the year before, we put a lot of time and effort into ensuring that we keep protesters safe. We don't disrupt or prevent people from entering the St. Hill property. We have a committee meeting that gets together several times ahead of the actual protest itself. And we review the security arrangements. We review how close we can be to the road, the rules, the maps of the land. We put a lot of effort into making sure that it is as safe as possible. We wear high-vis jackets and all sorts. But the fact is, Scientology are obstructing the public land to try and minimize the space available for protesters to use. And they shouldn't be doing that whatsoever, because it is public land. We stay out of their way. We don't obstruct the traffic. The main problem for the traffic is actually the fact that there are thousands of people trying to squeeze down this narrow country lane, and Scientology have poor traffic management skills in place so that the traffic builds up. And the traffic actually on the IES event weekend is very, very slow moving. There is a huge traffic jam that goes all the way up the road and turns left onto the main Turners Hill Road that goes into East Grinstead. It has a huge impact on the local town, and it's not because of the protesters, it's because of their event. Us as protesters standing on the verge next to the entrance has zero impact on the traffic whatsoever. All we are saying is by obstructing the highway and putting things there that limit the space that we can be in, you are making it more dangerous for us, but also for the people who are attending the event. Scientology have persistent ongoing issues with their parking arrangements at St. Hill, especially at the IES event. And often people have to park in the rugby club and the sports club, which are opposite ends of the road. And then in order to access the St. Hill property, the people who are attending the event have to walk in the road because Scientology have planted a hedge in the way of the footpath. So actually the people walking in the road are more often than not the Scientologists attending their event. So if they didn't have this shrubbery there, it would be a lot safer for everybody, not just for protesters. Scientology Money Project. Scientology argues that it trims its bush. Yeah, exactly. We're arguing here about Captain Davies' little bush and being trimmed. Scientology Money Project again. The police cannot recommend the placement of dangerous road obstructions. Alex, please contact the local police commission. Oh, don't you worry. I'm on top of it. The police have not, as far as I'm aware, recommended that those obstructions are put in place. Scientology have been unable to provide any evidence that that was a conversation that was had. And even if it had happened, the police do not have any authority to order that sort of thing. It lies with the Highways Authority, and the Highways Authority are saying they cannot do this. And that's why they're staying really firm with their position that it needs to be removed. Let's carry on here with the article. Where are we? Here we go. Share my screen. Scientology representatives subsequently met with the Highways Authority on the 15th of October and submitted an application for a license to install a temporary barrier on the verge for 3 days in order to mark the path so we keep people off the carriageway. West Sussex County Council rejected their application. Writing on the 17th of October 2024, we are unable to support a hoarding license application for the area in question as the safety requirements would not be able to be met. This includes the required safety zones between the carriageway and footway. West Sussex County Council, as the Highways Authority for West Sussex, has a duty to assert and protect the rights of the public to use and the enjoyment of the highway under the provisions of the Highways Act 1980, and as previously addressed, any items deposited or erected on the highway will be classed as an unlawful obstruction. We are currently reviewing the trees that are planted within the highway boundary. However, I must make you aware that it is likely we will seek their removal. Now, you've got to remember, this actual email is dated in October, so things have progressed since then, and they have proceeded to request the removal of this shrubbery. But this prompted Scientology's UK Managing Director, Janet. Hi, Janet. Everybody say hi, Janet. We love Janet. Hi, Janet. Janet hit out at the council and she warned them. She said, be very careful, in an email sent at 9 minutes past midnight on the 23rd of October 2024, just 2 days before the IES event. In the email, Janet claimed the council's attempts to resolve the issue of Scientology's unauthorized structures amounts to discrimination. Educon here saying more Janet and Alex collabs. Exactly. Jeffrey Augustine here. Alex, get the evidence yourself, since Scientology will not produce it and never will. They will delay until a court order is obtained. You can skip this by taking Scientology's claims about the police to the police. Absolutely, Jeff. It's something that is 100% being worked on. I've been dealing with this bloody shrubbery for many months, and I'm just bringing you the latest update from this FOI request. Sue Denham here. Janet, so pleased you're watching. Absolutely. We know Janet watches these. So hi, Janet. I hope you are well. I know that you are personally directing a great deal of harassment online against me at the moment, and you are personally involved in the fair game tactics that are attempting to intimidate and silence me into silence. However, Your plans are not working, and nonetheless, I will still help you leave if you ever need help. If you ever want to leave Scientology, there is support available to you. There's a community of here of people who clearly do care about you. They're all saying, "Hi, Janet," right? We do love anybody and everybody in Scientology. That doesn't excuse your behavior. That doesn't mean what you're doing is okay. But there is still a support network that is here to help you set up a new life outside Scientology if you ever leave. Sue Denham here says, I worked in enforcement at a local council. The rules is the rules, church or no church. Yes, absolutely. This is the point here. The council are applying the rules equally and fairly to everybody. The protesters have been sticking by the rules. Scientology have not been sticking by the rules. There is no discrimination here whatsoever on the council's part. Barbara here says Janet doesn't know what to do when people stand up for themselves. Yeah, well, she certainly knows how to stand up for the Church of Scientology because that's what she's doing in these emails. Anyway, let's carry on. Be very careful. In the email, Janet claimed the council's attempts to resolve the issue of Scientology's unauthorized structures amounts to discrimination. The Highways Authority needs to come and talk to us to resolve our very real concerns, and we will work together to address them, not write to us. I always struggle with this word. Precipitously and without proper regard for the actual facts and history. They should not allow themselves to be used as part of a campaign by people who wish to destroy the religion. Protesters have previously denied Scientology's claims, pointing to their signage, which carries a message of kindness and compassion. Photographs taken of the protest in 2023 show banners and placards that read, "When was the last time you saw your family? They love you, and so do we. And it's not out ethics to put your mental health first. The Aftermath Foundation will help." And here's a picture. This is taken from the Daily Mail of the protest that took place in 2023. And you can see the signs are factual and they are kind. When was the last time you saw your family? The UK Charity Commission rejected Scientology because it doesn't benefit the public. That is a real true statement. And that was taken as a direct quote from the Charity Commission's 1999 ruling. But we are carrying a message of hope, and we want to enlighten the Scientologists about the support services and network available to them. West Sussex County Council have continued to press for the unauthorised structures to be removed, with the arboriculturalist writing to Highways Manager on the 15th of January, saying, "Apologies for the delay in responding to you on this. I can certainly raise a job to have the trees in question removed from the public highway, including their stumps and root balls. Are separate arrangements being made to have the wooden sleepers removed also, as they may need to be moved to allow the contractors to remove the stumps, or I may be able to get them removed as part of the same job, but would just need to check with them that this is something they can do. However, due to a complaint and a Freedom of Information Act request filed by Scientology, the Highways Manager replied on the 16th of January, things have become a bit more complicated. The complaint was rejected by the council, with the latest email dated 27th of January 2025, so just under a month ago, telling us, "We are on hold subject to outcome of complaint. Stage 1 has been issued, and she could request a stage 2 and then referral to the LGO, which is the local government ombudsman. I think it's reasonable to await the outcome of those before proceeding with the works. It is unclear whether St Hill have decided to proceed with the second stage of the complaints procedure, but we will keep a close eye on the story and bring you the news as it develops." And you can download, as I said earlier, and read all of the documents yourself on ScientologyBusiness.com. The link is in the description down below. So I think this is a fairly major update. We have here evidence that the Scientology are claiming the council's application of the rules amounts to religious discrimination, and not only that, Scientology are being unfairly aggressive and rude and threatening to the council. My question is, what sort of church engages in this sort of behavior? It is this behavior precisely that we are protesting, and exactly why we do what we do. We are not against Scientology's so-called religious beliefs. We are against their aggressive behavior and their continued abuse that goes on inside Scientology's Saint Hill headquarters. That is why we're doing what we're doing. These rules are there for a reason, and they need to be abided by everybody equally. They don't apply to everybody except for Scientology. And asking Scientology to comply with the rules is not discrimination, especially considering these rules have been applied and enforced on other businesses and local groups in the area on multiple occasions. This isn't the first time the Highways Authority have had to ask a local business to remove something, an unauthorized structure. It is not something that's discriminatory in its nature at all. Right, let's have a little look at some of these comments I've been starring. Linda Mickle, how can it be discrimination if it's not their property? Yeah, exactly. It doesn't even matter if it was their property. It's not discrimination to apply the rules to an area of land that falls under the Highways Authority's jurisdiction, whether or not it is their property. But it isn't even their property. So excellent point. SP Crusader leaning here. If anything, they are putting their members at risk by cutting the hedge, or are they putting out ones and obstructing the road without permission? Yeah, they are obstructing the right of way. So they are making it a danger for their own members. They're making it a danger for the members of the public, and they're making it a danger for protesters. Even if the protest doesn't happen or didn't happen, it would still be a danger to passers-by and people who are driving on the road. Xenuite says, so Scientology is requiring that any other church that follows the law to prove they follow the law, to prove Scientology is not being discriminated. I have to think about that one. I'm not sure I quite understand it. Scientology is requiring that any other church that follows the law to prove they follow the law, to prove Scientology is not being discriminated. Yeah, I think what you're asking here is that Scientology is saying, hey, because you haven't had to ask another church to do this, you're discriminating against us. But I don't know. They may have asked other churches to do this. It doesn't matter who the person is that's breaking the rules. If they're breaking the rules, they're breaking the rules. Whether they're Scientologists or not doesn't even come into it. Golden Astrocat says, typical Scientology distraction, diversion, and gaslighting when they are told to follow the regulations. Absolutely. This is classic OSA operative behavior, and it is not something that's surprising, but I am glad that West Sussex County Council are now getting first-hand experience of the aggressive, unnecessarily aggressive behavior that Scientology engages in against anybody that dares to criticize it in any way, shape, or form, even when Scientology are the ones very clearly in the wrong here. And the West Sussex County Council are the people with the authority. Let's have a little look. Nisa here says, comment, I don't see any sidewalk on that street, and it is a danger for the pedestrians. Yeah, absolutely. And there used to be a footpath there. It is public land. It is a right of way. And there used to be a strip of land that people could use to walk past, and it would make it safer for them. That's no longer there. Mark Flad here says, I know two security companies who have worked at Goldbase, Highlander Security and the other I'm not disclosing. Well, there we go. Thank you for sharing. Good to know. Golden Astro Cat here says, Scientologists have such a sense of entitlement because they literally think they are superior to anybody who is not a Scientologist. To them, they are entitled to the highway. Yeah, well, look, the thing is, everybody is entitled to the highway. The highway is public land. Anybody can use it, not just Scientologists, not just protesters. This is public land. Everybody is entitled to use it. And Scientology here are preventing people from using this public land, which is why it's a problem. But you're absolutely right that Scientology believes that their ethics system is superior to the law, the legal system, the judicial system in the UK and other countries, because they believe their tech is superior. And that's why they think they're above the law. That's why it's really important that we come down on them with the law and point out when they're doing things wrong and enforce the law when they break it. Mark Flad, they may have installed hidden cameras in the hedge for reading license plates. Oh, Mark, They're not hidden. There is a very big camera that actually there's a big what's the word, like a big post that comes up and then it goes along, sticks out over the edge of their property of the land into the road with a huge CCTV camera pointed at the road, and it is a number plate reading camera. It is very obvious and clear to see that Scientology are taking personal information from anybody that uses the road and drives past St. Hill. You can see it just to the south of the main entrance of St. Hill if you drive past. There's nothing hidden about it whatsoever. Emma's history. Hi, Alex. Hi, Emma. Thank you for joining. Sue Denham, facts and history don't matter if an application has been refused, appeal it. If appeal is refused, abide by the decision. Yeah, absolutely. The problem is Scientology didn't even apply to install this hedging or fencing or curbing on public land because they knew they wouldn't get it, because they wouldn't get permission, because it's not their land. They're not allowed to do it. They didn't apply and then get told off for it. They just did it and have got told off for it. Now they've complained and they have been told off. The complaint has been upheld and now they're appealing it, apparently. But we'll see. Eerie forever. Janet, you don't have to live in lower conditions if this battle is lost. Your skills can be used in a good, well-paying job. You can live the rest of your life in a nice home independently, 100%. And Janet, if you do ever want to leave the Church of Scientology, you don't even have to leave the Scientology belief system if you don't want to. You can continue being a Scientologist without being a member of the Sea organization and being punished with restricted diet and hard manual labor when things go wrong. That is abuse, and that is not something that a religious group should be doing. And that's what we're trying to get across here. Sue Denham. Oh, look, Scientology wanting preferential treatment. What a surprise, Janet. Yeah, absolutely. Scientology here are trying to say we're allowed to do what we want, get out of the way and stop, criticizing us. It's discrimination. And unfortunately, that's not how it works. The council applies its rules fairly and equally to everybody. And what's even funnier about this situation is they've shot themselves in the foot because they have described the protests as occasional. And in order for a protest ban to be put in place, which Scientology are campaigning heavily for at the Mid-Sussex District Council level, they need to prove that the protests are persistent and ongoing, antisocial and harassment, none of which is the case. 2 protests have taken place in the last 6 years. There have been no arrests. The police have been there every single time. There has been no evidence of harassment or anything like that. The only thing left for them to claim is that it's persistent, and they can't even do that when they only happen occasionally, according to Scientology's own words to the council. Educon, will Scientology come round and make a shrubbery? Round my way, local roundabout is a mess. Yeah, well, look, if Scientology are offering free shrubbery services, I would more than happily employ the Church of Scientology to install a shrubbery outside of my home to prevent them looking into my front window when they send private investigators to follow me. So here, I'm even offering the Church of Scientology some work here if they are indeed shrubbery experts. And finally, Nisa here says, comment, we have to have rules for a reason. If there were no rules, there would be total chaos. Yes, absolutely. That's the thing. Rules are here and they are there to be followed. And at the moment, we have only us as protesters following the rules and Scientology breaking them. And that is why the council needs to enforce these rules and ensure that this shrubbery is indeed removed. So, guys, that's the update from me. There is a lot coming from me this week. There are some major things in my diary that I can't wait to share with you very, very soon. So please stay tuned. Make sure you have the bell ticked to all notifications so that you get a ping whenever I go live. If you want to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee using the link down below. But the best way of supporting is by pressing the thumbs up like button and leaving a comment after this video finishes underneath the video. After the live chat closes, refresh the page, leave a comment underneath, and that helps push this video out to more people. I would be really interested to hear from local residents in and around East Grinstead and Sussex about what they think about Scientology's behavior here and their threats to to the council and whether you agree with it. It's not a case of protesting their religious beliefs. It's a case of whether or not they follow the rules. The council here have asked them to do something because they are illegally breaking the rules, and Scientology have hit back and threatened the council. So I'd be interested to know what you think. So let me know what you think down below in the comments, or send me an email. hello@apostatealex.com is my email address. I'm going to keep fighting this fight because I am someone who stands up against bullies. I will not be harassed. I will not be intimidated. And I will continue doing this until we get justice. And I will continue being a voice for those whose voice is being taken away. Thank you so much for joining. And until next time, I'll see you then.